when the Creator imbues him with these powers and tells Coyote to help feed the starving people. The glaciers had just broken, and the river had shifted, and the salmon were starting to make their inroads up the river.
Okay.
And so Coyote was asked to, well, here's how this all started. I'm going to go back. When I moved here in 1955 to Wenatchee Heights, and I've explained this before, we had no electricity or any of the, the modern conveniences. It was just a shell of a house up there. And in the darkness of my grandpa's bedroom, I was laying beside him, and he spread his hands out in total darkness. And he says, and he started out, he says, and that's when all these stories, he says, Shmeow, Coyote. Coyote was just a mangy dog to begin with. And the Creator took the most, what would you say, unsuspecting, undeserving of all of his creations, and gave him the task of being the mouthpiece for the Creator. He became the changer. He heralded the change to make way for man who was coming. And his first job that was handed to him was to feed the people. He gave Coyote a staff, and just to make sure Coyote was doing his bidding, he assigned a chaperone, I guess you would say, fox, red fox, or no, it wasn't red fox, it was swift fox, gray fox. If anything happened to Coyote, Fox would be able to bring him, like Coyote getting into mischief was kill, which he tended to do, because Coyote is obsessed by only two things in this world, much like men: food and sex. The two things that drove him to them. And they also got him killed. And each time Red Fox would step over his body, then step back and forth and reanimate him and bring him back to life. And each time Fox would tell him, I told you not to mess with that bull, that it would kill you. Coyote said, I knew that all along. And that was generally Coyote's response to everything is, I knew that. I knew that. And so Coyote Shmeow, he comes to the bridge of the gods, and the people there, up in the Klickitat and up in the White Salmon, they're starving to death. So Coyote goes to the chief and tells him, give me one of your daughters, and I will feed you, I'll bring you food. And so the chief brings him the most beautiful daughter. And Coyote brings the salmon, the king salmon, the biggest, Tyee of the sky. And the people are fed. He goes farther up the river to a place right around where Bonneville Dam is. It was called Cascade Locks. And there at Cascade Locks is a huge dam that had been created by beaver. Skolau, giant beaver had created this. And Beaver was not about to. He wasn't ready to jar loose and break the dam. So Coyote, in his frustration, turns Beaver into what we know as the beaver now, and said, you, for your stubbornness and your failure, your refusal to cooperate, will now be prized by man who is coming. Man who is coming is going to use your fur, your skins, your hide, and eat your flesh. And you will become, I guess in today's equivalent, you will become money. Indians will trade you, like we do currency now. So our word for money is skolau, beaver, this day. Coyote takes his staff, breaks the dam, and releases the salmon to go through. He goes up farther. He comes to the Dalles, and again, the Dalles is blocked by a huge dam. Coyote once again uses his power to break the dam. And because the people there, the Wishkam and the Wayang people, are generous and give Coyote a lot of, rewards, food, daughters. Coyote puts a waterfall there so that the fish would have to stop, and it becomes the greatest salmon fishery in the world. He moves up to the Deschutes, and the Deschutes people are generous to him. All the way up, Coyote goes. He comes up to the Wenatchee, and at the Wenatchee, nothing is coming down, very little water, so he goes up the river. And there are what we call the Pashastan Pinnacles, Itiayat. Coyote comes across three sisters, or three witches. And they have the river dammed. And they totally refuse Coyote. It angers Coyote. Right then, here comes a voice, a very soft voice, and it's Mourning Dove. Mourning Dove and her friend, Mole, have been sitting there watching the goings on for years, for centuries. Their families have watched how Mudhen, Loon, and Shag, three birds, have controlled that river. And so, after talking to them, and the people above in the upper Wenatchee, they're not starving, but they're very hungry because the only fish they have up there are little fish in Lake Wenatchee, little fish in the river. Well, Coyote goes back up and he sits. Pretty soon here comes Mole, and Mole shares with him the fact that these sisters, or these witches, they periodically go upriver to gather roots and berries and other foods for themselves. And Coyote hatches this plan. You keep an eye on them. And Mourning Dove goes down and tells him, "Oh my, you should be up in White River. Man, the huckleberries are huge. They're huge and they're just hanging." Telling the sisters, "Oh, they can't control themselves. They can't contain themselves. Well, we should all get up there and start picking." But Coyote goes upriver. He takes reeds and bulrushes with the help of the birds of Mourning Dove and fashions this kind of a nest, kind of a basket, and transforms himself into a baby and lays in the boat. And they push Coyote out. He floats down the river. And as he comes to the dam, the three sisters, they're delighted. And they'd never dreamed of having a child. It's something that they all wanted, but they could never have. And so they take the baby and they hold the baby and they're jealous of each other, but they share the baby. And then they go, "But we have to go up. We still have to go up. What are we going to do with the baby?" And Mourning Dove says, "Oh, I'll look after the baby. Just go ahead." Okay, so they head upriver, and when they head upriver, Coyote turns himself back into a coyote. He breaks the dam and sets the fish free. And as the fish are going up, Coyote is singing to them. And the salmon, the king salmon turns and gives people for the first time. They sing to the people, they sing to Coyote. And if you look at the Pashastan Pinnacles, you will see the salmon. All the salmon people are depicted there. And Coyote's head is leaned back and he's singing. And right below them is Mole and Mourning Dove sitting on a rock by themselves, witnessing this. The witches come back, they see what's happened, they start to raise a fuss, and Coyote says, from now on, he touches Loon, And if you ever see loon, it's got that white collar, a white dentilium collar. And Coyote said, every time you try eating too much, it'll choke you. Just to remind you of your treachery. Mud hen, you from now on will live off in the mud of the streams. That's all. And Shag, you will wear the spots on your back to let everyone know of your treachery. Now go, and he sent them to disperse them. Coyote goes further up, and at the Antioch, the chief there at the Antioch, who passed down the name over and over, his name, Tzilkotzat. Every chief on the Wenatchee, on the Antioch was named Tzilkotzat. They took that name. And at Antioch, he makes a pact with the Wolverines, and the Wolverines give him access. Going on up to, all the way up, all the rivers, he brings fish to, except Chelan. At Chelan, the mountain goats. You got to remember that the animals walked and talked as we do now. People and animals were the same status. The mountain goats refused. No. No, you're not. I'm not giving you any daughter. I'm not giving you my sons, because Coyote wanted one of them to eat. The mountain goats suspected such a thing. So they refused. Coyote placed his staff and rose this wall, Chelan Falls, and forever blocked the salmon. So the salmon run on the Chelan is 1 mile. That's it. And the people would have to come down. Well, when Wolverine, who had befriended Coyote at the Antioch, heard about this, Wolverine decided he would get in on some of this. So when Coyote goes up, right after he brings the wall, places his staff there and creates the wall, Wolverine uses his power, shakes the cliffs, and brings the cliffs down onto Coyote, killing Coyote. Fox is just so irritated with him. You brought this down on yourself. So Fox left him there, refused to step over him. His body lay there and rotted. Pretty soon there was nothing but bones. And it was years before Fox came back and decided, maybe I'll try it. So he steps over Fox 4 times, 5 times. Coyote sits up. Oh, what happened? Well, you brought the mountain down for being so greedy. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Oh yeah, right. So off they went. Off they went, changing the world. They went all the way out onto the Great Plains, bringing salmon to the people. And he gets to a place over in the Bitterroot Valley in Montana. And there becomes the last of the salmon. At Spokane Falls, he creates a falls there so that nothing could go farther than that. So he changes things, and when he gets to Montana, what we call Ayakanolo, he wants a big fat buffalo to eat. He's hungry. He's been changing the world, but he can't let the buffalo chief know that he wants to eat him. I want one of your daughters. For what? To marry. You? Scroungy dog. Yeah, but I've got powers. So the buffalo chief allows him to marry his daughter. So Coyote leaves with the young buffalo cow. And a few miles down the road, Coyote decides, I'm hungry. So he turns around, he kills her and eats her. The buffalo chief suspected something like this might happen. So the girl that he had given to Coyote wasn't just a girl. She was a sorcerer. She was a medicine woman. And after Coyote has devoured her, he proceeds to walk on. He had taken the meat and dried it. So he was carrying his wife with him. All of a sudden he feels the ground shaking and moving. And he turns, and way off in the horizon, it's it's the buffalo, and it's chasing him. It's the buffalo skeleton. It's chasing him. Did I just... So she kills Coyote, of course, like he should have been. And it takes a while before Fox comes along and finds him and once again reanimates him. But it's as far as our Coyote stories go, was into Montana. Now from there, the Plains Indians pick up Coyote stories, but the Plains Indians have yet to come out onto the plains, like the Sioux, the Cheyennes, the Arapahoes. They're late arrivals. They don't come out there until just shortly after the horse mating. So, in that, you can find a story.
I have some questions. Can I ask questions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Give me 1 second to pull up my notes here. I have in our syllabus that one second, I'm just trying to find my notes about the stories that we're covering this year. So I have that we are, if you guys want to cut, go ahead. This will just be me talking.
No,
That